Hey fellas, how you doing? I want to take the time to tell you some of the things. Now, I want to be blunt, and I don't want you to think I'm preaching to you or telling you what you have to do, okay? But I want to be very blunt with you about what I think is going to happen, and then I will let it go. I'm not sure why my neighbor slow rolling by me, but okay. Anyways, so one of your biggest responsibilities as a man is to protect. And the first thing is you have to be able to protect. Protecting yourself is a perishable skill. And that's everything from being able to use your hands and elbows and knees and the rest of that stuff to, and of course he's coming back. I don't know what the fuck's going on here. Hang on. Nobody comes floating around here. I am not, oh, never mind, my new neighbors. I am not super hyper vigilant, but I am definitely aware of the things that are going on around me. And I do a lot of little subtle things. For example, if I've been away from my car for a while, before I get into it, I always come in and I'll look through the windows. I won't touch the car. I'll look around the bottom and the other side. I'll be looking for marks or oil or anything that looks out of the ordinary. I'll go in there and then I'll unlock the door. I'll get into the car. I don't go anywhere unarmed, and I mean I'm carrying a gun and a knife at a minimum. My wife has pepper spray with her, and she also has one to practice with, which I think is bizarre that people will only buy one. If you're going to buy stuff like this, you need to make sure that you have one to practice with, because you don't want to have never used the thing that your life may depend on. And that's why I call them perishable skills. I go shooting at least once a week. I'd say once every other week. So probably at least 2 times a month I go shooting, and I fire quite a bit of rounds. Now I say this all the time, but I tell, that's my new neighbors over there. I'm being kind of nosy. I'm getting work done. Let me go back in here. I think it would be a good idea for you to have some ramen soup, like a case of ramen soup, maybe a case of tuna or a case of chicken, canned chicken, food or something that you can, like if you had to and you just had to hunker down. Let me go back inside so I don't sound too fucking weird. I'll fix that in a minute. Now, I purposely, all of the doors in my house, for the most part, if they're outside leading to the inside of the house, or they're inner doors that don't have to deal with my strong point in my home, that's the place where I intend to defend my home until I get eliminated or the threat gets eliminated. So I don't really want to get into that stuff. So I will move on to the point. Now, I have seen civil war in Guatemala, physically been on the ground in Guatemala, El Salvador, Colombia, Peru, Lima, Peru, Bogota, Colombia, Panama City in Panama against the M20. In Colombia, it was the FARC and the M19. In Peru, it was the Sendero Luminoso and the Tupac Amaru. In Honduras, it was dealing with Ortega and the insurgents across the border to the north. Nicaragua basically trying to use insurgents into there. El Salvador, it was just Cuban-backed guerrillas trying to overthrow the government. I've seen some things I would never wish on any of you, but I can tell you this. You have to prepare. You have to be able to protect yourself. That's the first thing. And the first thing is, if you're not a little bit physically fit. Push-ups don't cost anything. Leg lifts don't cost anything. Deep knee bends don't cost anything. Steam engines, calisthenics, they don't cost you a penny. Go for a walk. Try to eat as much whole food as opposed to any of the other things. I'm going to go get a knife. I'm going to go get my practice knife, and I'm going to show you again how to hold the knife. And I'm stealing this from Game of Thrones, the pointy end. You point that towards the bad guys. So I'll pull it out of the drawer here. Now here's just some of the things that I carry with me on a daily basis. That's a 9mm 2-shot Derringer. That's a 22 mag 5-shot Derringer. That's an actual fighting knife with the tanto blade, which means it's armor piercing. That's a Smith & Wesson 9mm with 30 rounds of ammunition. That's brass knuckles that'll go through any magnetometer on Earth. This is a practice knife. This is a sleeve for either one of the Derringers to put it on my body. So I'm going to pick the knife up, and I'm going to take it back over with me. And I'm going to sit down so I can show you the two grips for the knife. There are far too many people that have not only never been in a fight, but have never seen violence on an industrial scale. So this is a practice knife. It's a piece of aluminum. It's got 550 cord, which is also considered parachute cord, wrapped around it. That's for the grip. And grip, when you're stabbing somebody, the amount of blood that comes out of a human body, especially if you hit an arterial vein, which is a pumping vein, not when it's recirculating through the body, but when it's being pumped into the body. So this is the blade. You grip it here, and I always put my thumb on the back of the ridge of the knife. Now the knife faces your opponent and your left hand, and it would be your right hand if you're left-handed. Your dominant hand is front. So you're going to cut, going to stab, you're going to do those things, and you're going to use it. You can lose a hand, you can lose a finger, you can lose an arm, you can get stabbed up here in the upper body. You don't want to get stabbed anywhere around the neck, the femoral area of your inner thighs. There's just underneath your armpit, there's a vein under there. In jail, if we would catch a guy, you'd hold his arm up, and then you'd, hey, let me just move on. The other way to use the knife, now in Pakita Tersikali, this is called suk suk. Okay, this is the way you use the knife, suk suk. And I practice with this all the time. This is the other one. This is called pakal. This is called the hilt, or the point, or the hilt of the knife. And you place your thumb over that, so when you stab somebody, it doesn't move up and cut your fingers when you're doing that. All right. So again, the knife comes forward, and you can just stab them like that, move across, move down, slice like this. Especially if somebody reaches for you, you can slice up, slice down. This is the most powerful strike down on a human being. Now back to Civil War. I'm in El Salvador, and nothing's wrong. Nobody knows. Everything's an average day until it's not. All of a sudden, the power. I was staying at the Holiday Inn in San Salvador, El Salvador, and the power goes out, which normally happens. But then you start hearing, and here again, I don't want you to assume, but I know what a mortar sounds like when it hits the ground or hits a building. The whoop, and it gives a low bass rumble, and we start hearing stuff like that, and then you start hearing the crack of rifles being fired, and we all run out and get a look, and up, like in behind me, up here, up the hill, you see on both sides of the street a line of soldiers coming down on both sides of the street, and they're evenly spaced, and they're gaps. So one guy's in, this guy on this side of the street is here, and this guy's in back, so that if they start firing, they're not going to get in each other's way. So anyways, and that's the the bad guys, the guys we weren't supporting, and the guys that were coming to get us. Anyways, they got us out of there. The South Carolina National Guard unit got us out of there. It was just friggin' funny story, but that's not the only Civil War. I watched it, and it was like out of nowhere. It was a day I had a whole list of things planned. I was going to teach a class on how to search a car and all that. It's all out the window. And that's why I say it's nobody's going to tell you, hey, look, tomorrow at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we're going to attack this. But nah, that's not the way it happens. And I would rather see you be prepared. And being prepared is like you can buy like 1 box of ramen noodles. You can buy, and I ask you to consider this. I ask you to buy distilled water, gallon jugs, from Walmart. If you don't have a container and you don't want to do your own, that's probably the highest quality water you're going to be able to get. Now, you only need water and some food, fuel, canned chicken. I don't need a lot of seafood because of the mercury and all the other stuff in it, the canning process. I'm not saying this, a bag of rice, beans, they're easy to store, they last for years, and it's not that expensive. I'd like you just to consider, even if you just put it in your pantry and you forget about it, you just like have 5 or 10 pounds of rice, about 14 to 20 cans of chicken, at least 24 to maybe 36 ramen noodle packets, beans, and the rice. So that's just a staple to get you through, and the distilled water. And I have, here, I'll show you here. I have a power generator here it's sitting right there. It's out of the way. Nobody would know it. I have panels. I have walkie-talkies so I can talk to my wife. I have a solar-powered radio. Listen, I'm not a prepper, but I've seen seen what's happening, and what it is. It's a slow, steady progression. One of the groups feels like the other side is getting more of an advantage, and they tend to demonize it. Listen, it just simply debating somebody. To me, Charlie Kirk getting killed was, to me, a very eye-opening tipping point. Do I think it's going to happen? No, I don't think it's going to happen this year. Do I think a lot of people want to pit us against each other? Yes. If this happens, if something crazy happens, I'm going to just hunker down in place. I'm not going to go out and we have all our toilet paper. We learned that during the last COVID thing. We're not going to get surprised by any of that stuff. I have extra gas. I have water. I have a pool. I have filter. We're going to just hunker down in place. We're not going to bother anybody. We're going to keep a very low profile. And we're going to just wait and see what happens. We're definitely not going to go to an egress point. You don't want to be out on the roads when and if shit hits the fan, okay? I'm not trying to scare you or anything else like that. But you have a right to defend yourself. You have the right to defend those you love. You have the right to defend where you live, even if it's an apartment. You need to make a strong point. A strong point is where you can see out and they can't see in, okay? It can't be in front of a window. Anyways, I know I'm overdoing this. I'm sorry. I don't mean this mean, but I don't think we can ignore those people that profess to hate us simply because I want a traditional wife, a traditional family. I want to be able to have my own belief systems without you calling me a racist or a fascist or a Nazi. You can get into my face, you can cancel me, but if I tell you I don't agree with you, then it's all out war. Well, then maybe it's time we just have our war of ideas and see who wins. And again, with any type of war, it's not, they're just winners and losers. That's it. It's just winners and losers. There's no if, ands, or might. My basic premise, and now I'm circling all the way back around. You must be able to protect yourself. If someone's trying to hurt you, I say you have the right to use deadly force to defend yourself. All right? Love you guys. Stay safe and healthy. Take care of each other if you can. And listen, in real life, you can't call fucking time out. You can't, hey, I'm not fucking ready. I'll be back here in 3 days, and I'll get in shape. In 3 days, I'll be back here, and I'll be ready. That's just not how it fucking works. You stay out of thug culture, stay out of the gang territory, stay out of bad areas if you can. If you can't, you get in and you get out, all right? You look before you get in a vehicle. You just walk around. You look to the people in the parking lot. If they're looking at you trying to make eye contact, you stare them directly back in the eye and you're like, what's up? You okay? Everything all right? If not, listen, if you draw a gun, now I'm not talking about a knife. If you draw a gun and that person still keeps coming at you, in my opinion, you have the right to do whatever it is so that you go home and they don't. That's the way I talk to my guys in my platoons when I was in the Army. I knew I was coming home, and I was going to do whatever it took to make sure that I and as many of the guys I could help came home. That's it. Love you guys. Stay safe and healthy. Take care of each other if you can, and if you can't, you have to take care of yourselves, all right? Look, I don't know what's happening, but it just seems like our society's unraveling a little bit more than average, okay? Like a fort in a G-string from West Texas, El Paso. I'm out of here. Bye-bye.